Delanco Township Committee Meeting of July 13th, 2026, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Delanco Township Municipal Building, 770 Coopertown Road, Delanco, New Jersey. All right, we are recording.
Thank you.
And we are live.
Okay. I'd like to welcome you to the July 13th, 2026 Township Committee Meeting. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Mr. McFadden.
Here.
Mr. Olet.
Here.
Ms. Seuss is absent. Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Here. Also present, Mrs. Seminaro, our Township Administrator, Mr. Raymond, our Township Solicitor, Mr. Fox, our Township Engineer, Mrs. Russell, our Municipal Clerk, Mrs. Hart, our Deputy Municipal Clerk, Mr. Fenimore, Superintendent of Public Works, and Mr. Warren, Police Chief. Please join me in a flag salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bev, would you please read the Sunshine Statement?
Yes, Mayor. Please be advised the proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act in the following manner. Written notice has been mailed to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post and published in the December 28, 2025 editions. Written notice has been posted on the official bulletin board of the Township of Delanco at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. Live stream statement. This meeting of the Delanco Township Committee may be transmitted via live stream on YouTube video. The streaming of the meeting is not intended to be relied upon as formal public access under Open Public Meetings Act, and if the technology is disrupted for any reason, the township meeting will proceed in person as an official meeting in accord with the official notice. Please silence your cell phones and refer to the rules governing public comment attached to the agenda.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda tonight is the ordinance for public hearing, ordinance 2026-10, an ordinance of the Township of Delanco in the County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Delanco to include and designate data centers as a non-permitted use in all zones within the Township of Delanco. This is the second reading by title only and public hearing. Bev, should you notice the comments from the Joint Land Use Board first, or should we just have the public hearing first?
We can say them now, I think.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
This ordinance, because it is a zoning ordinance, was referred to the Joint Land Use Board for review to see if it is consistent with the master plan. And the Joint Land Use Board did review it. There was a review by the board planner, Michelle Taylor of Taylor Design, and they did find that it is consistent with the master plan. There is one section, I believe it's the 11th whereas in the preamble, where it refers to large-scale data centers, large-scale commercial data centers. And as that is the only place that it is referenced in the ordinance or in the preamble, Joint Land Use Board suggested that large scale be removed. And Mr. Heinhold did review it. The attorney for the board reviewed it, and they agreed that was not a problem.
Yeah, that is correct. It was, you can make that amendment and still proceed tonight on second reading because it's not a substantive portion of the ordinance. So it is appropriate to make that change if you feel that the change is warranted, and we can still proceed with the second reading.
Yeah. So the meeting is now open to the public on this ordinance only. Okay. There being no comments from the public, I'll close this portion of the meeting. And is there a motion to adopt ordinance 2026-10?
Oh, are we, and I apologize, you guys,
Yeah,
are we
with the
going
change.
with the change recommended by
With the change recommended by the Joint Land Use Board. Yes, definitely with the change.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
I'm going to vote no, not because I don't believe that it's important to regulate this, but as I mentioned during previous hearings, there was a lot of changes that could have been made to this ordinance that the Township Committee chose not to make. this ordinance could have unintended consequences, and while I completely agree that data centers should be regulated, the form of this ordinance, I simply don't agree to. Leave it at that. So, no.
Mr. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick?
Yes. And I just want to state that this ordinance was approved by our solicitor with this one change, and I'm confident that if any amendments have to be made down the road, that we'll definitely take care of that. Okay, so the meeting is open to the public for comments and questions for agenda items only. This is session 1.
Dave Russ, 228 Maple Avenue. I see on here that there's a shared service agreement with the school board and the police department for a school resource officer. Will this take care of the security issues with the library at the school?
Not really, not to my knowledge. That's not, no. I have not been informed of that at all. I don't know that anyone else
He can't be in 2 places
is.
at one time. He's going to be inside the school. The issue with the library is outside, because it's a public space. People are able to access that public space
So
anytime they want.
that
He's
part-
going to be inside the school.
He's going to be
the whole
inside.
time? Does he-
Yeah, no, he's not going to be patrolling outside. No, he's
No,
going
I
to be
mean, is
inside.
he gonna, if you're a call in town and you need officers to go, he just stays at the school?
Yeah, he's responsible for the school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Another thing, it's on the agenda, on the back, the rules governing public comment period. Speakers and members of the public should at all times maintain proper decorum and shall make their comments in a civil manner. Personal attacks, obscenity, derogatory, or slanderous remarks will not be tolerated. At the last meeting, I was kind of offended at the remark that Mr. Bartlett made of people on Delaware Avenue being elitists. I think if you're going to be on Township Committee, you need to represent all the citizens of Delanco, not just certain parts, neighborhoods, or streets. And I don't live down there, but personally, I was kind of offended that he would call members of our town elitists. And the other thing is, do chairpersons and members of boards and commissions, do they have to abide by the same conduct that the residents do?
I would say yes.
Again, I mean, I think everybody, the goal would be that everybody conduct themselves with appropriate decorum at a public meeting.
Because there was also the chairman of the Recreation Commission that kind of went a little wild the other night, or the last meeting, and either Mr. Bartlett or Mr. Graybob weren't told anything to calm down, or that wasn't right to say that, or anything. I'm just, wondering if that's allowed to happen, or it's just the residents have to have decorum.
Dave, I will have a response to that.
What's
when
that?
we do- I will have a response to that during the discussion item about the parking. I will address that.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Dave. Anyone else?
My name is Nancy L. Rust. I live at 228 Maple Avenue. As a resident in this town, I am deeply concerned
Could you,
about...
Nancy, could you pull the mic down? Good.
Can you hear
Yeah.
me now?
Thank you.
Is this better?
Yes.
As a resident in this town, I am deeply concerned about the new ordinance governing the permit parking between 2nd Street and Delaware Avenue. As understood, this would be lifting the times as to when a person can park on these streets. Instead of starting at 8 a.m., people will be allowed to park starting at sunrise. I will not address the issue at Orchard, Vine, and Walter, as I do not have direct knowledge of the concerns in that area. My first concern is the arbitrary addition of the word sunrise. Such as the ending time is not limited to sunset, I think that sunrise is way too subjective. I'm also concerned about the season changings when sunrise will fall at a different time during fall and winter. As a resident, I walk down this riverbank almost daily. At different times recently, after attending the last meeting on June the 29th, 2026, I decided to walk in the morning at 5:45 and 6 a.m. The riverbank is quiet. I did notice some parking, and on one occasion, the person got into their car and drove away, who had walked along the riverbank, possibly violating the ordinance already in effect. It would be a shame to roll back these hours. I saw no one sitting on the benches. My understanding of the rules that are in effect now were put in place years ago as there were problems. I will let the residents of the riverbank address this issue if they choose to do so. Another concern is that we are fixing a problem that is not broken. As much time as I spend walking down Delaware, I cannot see why we would lift these restrictions and allow anyone to park at Sunrise, resident or not resident. Also, it is my understanding from the last meeting that there are complaints that people have to park on 2nd Street before the allowed time and that they are residents. Maybe they do not understand the full scope of the residents that actually do live there, the people who actually live on Delaware Avenue and the side streets. Their concerns should pull more weight than people who temporarily go there, some of which are not residents. I have seen people breach private property, allow their dogs to defecate on their property, even though we give people trash cans at the end of each street, there is trash on their properties. Even though there are signs posting forbidding drinking, there are empty liquor containers strewn about. I could go on. Let's not open up another 2.5 hours to let people flaunt our laws and not respect the area. On a further note, I do respect the people that are adversely affected by this change. They are taxpayers. They maintain their properties in a way to make it enjoyable for the public to walk, ride their bikes, walk their dogs, stroll their children, run, gather on the riverbank talking to friends, fish, picnic, ride their cars up and down Delaware Avenue, take pictures of weddings and proms. In addition, when the township holds events such as concerts, car shows, anniversary celebrations, they, the Delaware Avenue residents and residents on the side streets, as mentioned in all the above, are affected. Sometimes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Not only do we owe them a thank you for helping to provide this gem of an atmosphere we enjoy, but to really look at the possibilities that this change can make for their own peace, quiet, security, and privacy. Thank you for your considerations regarding this matter.
Thank you, Nancy. Jay?
Ms. Mayor. Jay Cohen, 625 Delaware Avenue. We have lived there, now it's 38 years, and the parking regulations came about because of problems that were occurring there. There were cars pulling up and they would open their trunks and play loud music. We'd call the police, and this was at other corners too, and they would be gone after that. There were a number of instances of people selling drugs there. We would see them either parked there or down by the riverbank selling drugs, or laying out on the hood. I've actually seen them put stuff out on the hood that people were dealing with them. We've had people come down and take river rocks and steal them and take them away in their car. We've seen a number of instances that have occurred, people coming down there setting off fireworks, which then leaves maybe things that didn't explode for kids that might come down there and play. So this is an example of something that's not broken. So what are you trying to fix? I heard, and this, I'm not sure because it's so asinine, was that somebody wanted to sit there to watch the sunrise. My wife can answer to that. It's, we did call the police, or many calls, and once the parking was restricted, all these problems seem to go away. It stops happening. So, again, I don't know what you're trying to fix. One other small point. I do take issue with the township committee referring to us as elitists. In the first place, elitism is really not driven by where you live and what your house looks like. It's by how you treat people, whether or not you treat them with respect, or do you need to call them names? Do you think you're better than they are? And I heard this coming. I've listened to the tape myself from the township committee. It's inexcusable, All we try to do is be good neighbors. I pulled out my checkbook and I listed like 100 different things that have come up over the years. And this is a completely inappropriate thing coming out of the Township Committee. I heard it agreed to, and with the exception of the mayor, I did not hear anyone that disagreed with this. So again, we're just trying to be good neighbors in a town where the bar is set very high to be a good neighbor. We are surrounded by a lot of good neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Lynn?
Lynn Whitney, 100 Maple Avenue, which is at the corner of Maple and Delaware. And I think I'm echoing the same statements came previously. The comment is in regard to a committee person referring to us, the owners of homes on Delaware Avenue, as Delaware Avenue elitists who don't want people to park in front of their homes. It was entirely inappropriate and very divisive. And I find in this current global area, even our country, there is so much divisiveness already happening. Why would you want to cause that in our town? Do you want to start labeling all the different neighborhoods in the town? I'm not an elitist. I'm a retired school librarian. I am lucky enough to live on the river. I pay the taxes that support the town. I pay for the property that is on the other side of the road. I'm not sure that everybody realizes that. We maintain it. We keep our property nicely. We plant flowers. We maintain the trees. We make the Delaware River Road attractive for people to want to walk on it. I'm not opposed to somebody parking there, but the idea of making it sunrise is not going to work because there is a 2-hour difference between spring and winter. So you may have people coming down in the morning in the winter, and it's pitch black, it's dark. Not only that, we are maintaining the river for you. We mow the grass, we take care of the plants. We are saving the township money by maintaining what is making the river so attractive. I'm not opposed to changing maybe the parking to 7 o'clock. That is a noise ordinance, so why would we want construction trucks or lone people anywhere before that? That would annoy everybody. So that doesn't seem to be any kind of solution to a problem. And I agree, there is a problem with parking, but I think that you're taking the problem of the parking at the park and putting it on to the people at the other end of town. I have people parking in front of my house early. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. They're well behaved. I let people fish on my property, but they ask my permission first. And I say, fine, as long as you clean up after yourself. We are good neighbors. We try and keep our properties nice. And when I first moved here about 18 years ago, I was the only house in 2 blocks that was occupied. They were in foreclosure, they were empty. The house next to me had ivy crawling all over it, a tree that had fallen down in the property and was just laying there. I called the township and they did nothing about it. I sat there and watched raccoons go into the basement window. I took a chance and moved into a block that was empty, and I was by myself. So yeah, I appreciated the fact that people weren't allowed to park there at night. So all I can say is, the river is what makes Delanco so attractive. And to be called an elitist because I'm proud of my home was really very offensive. And I also want to say that I don't think it would be such a bad idea to maybe put one handicap spot in each crossroad to make sure that people can access the river. But making it from sunset to sunrise is just not a solution. So it can be resolved in a proper manner and not by hurling insults and pitting neighbor against neighbor. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Lynn. Anyone else, Joan?
Hi, my name is Joan Cohen. I live at 625 Delaware Avenue, which is the corner of Delaware and Walnut. And my husband and family and I, we have enjoyed 38 years of sunsets. We have not seen a sunrise there, which I think someone is looking for, but there have been no sunrises there. So I am speaking against the change of the hours. The signs that are there have been very effective. Before the signs, you know, were at the corner, there were people parking there, and as Jay has already mentioned, the things that went on. So as soon as the signs went up, the problem stopped. We did call the police. They were very responsive to us, but so I say it is not broken. It's working. What's not working is what happened at the previous meeting, and I am embarrassed that that would happen at my committee meeting, that someone would call residents' names. I'm offended, and that, you know, we have, through the years, through these 38 years, we have supported the township. We have supported, you know, people coming down and taking pictures and weddings, and we supported the additional parking that on Delaware Avenue that inconveniences us because we're the only driveway on Delaware Avenue. So, but we did that because it allows people who have disabilities to access the events that are being held down the river. So, I would strongly encourage the committee to reconsider this and not change what is working. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close this portion of the meeting to the public.
Mayor, if I may, I was going to talk about that during our discussion for the parking, but given all the public comments, I'd like to address that now.
Sure.
If I have the pleasure. Thank you. I appreciate that. About a week or so after the last Township Committee meeting, I did receive an email from a Delaware Avenue resident expressing concern about the use, my use of the word elitist. And as soon as that word left my mouth that evening, I knew I chose the wrong word to say, and it wasn't the best way to express what I was trying to understand, what I was trying to say. And I understand why people took offense to it. And I appreciate that resident taking the time to write to me. And it gave me an opportunity to reflect on what I did say, and not only what I said and how it was received. And I know people walked away from that meeting with different perspectives. Some understood exactly what I was trying to say. Others understandably believed I was referring to everyone who lives on Delaware Avenue as an elitist. And that's certainly not true. I have many good friends who live on Delaware Avenue, and I certainly wouldn't call them elitists. And that was never my intention. Rather than rely on my memory of events from more than 12 years ago, I went back, I reviewed the meeting minutes from 2013 and 2014, and those minutes document months of discussions regarding overnight parking, neighborhood concerns, permit parking proposals, and ultimately the adoption of the ordinance that we have on the books today. And whether or not someone agrees or disagrees with the decisions made at that time, the history is part of the public record. My comments were directed toward the circumstances surrounding the adoption of this ordinance more than 12 years ago. They weren't directed at the people who live on Delaware Avenue today. Many of today's residents were not here when those discussions took place. I understand, Mr. and Mrs. Cohen, you here, a lot of other people were here, but a lot of our residents were not here, and I was not trying to label an entire neighborhood. I also listened carefully to the discussion at the last meeting, and that's one of the benefits we have of our YouTube channel where we could all listen to it, and it's part of the record forever. One comment that stood out to me was the suggestion that if someone wants to enjoy the waterfront before 8 a.m. in the morning, they can simply park a block away and walk. And respectfully, I think that comment gets to the heart of the issue that's before us. If someone parks on 2nd Street or the next block up on the side streets instead of the first block on the waterfront, the vehicle hasn't disappeared. We've simply shifted the burden to residents on the next block. And I don't believe that's equitable public policy. Public streets belong to all the residents of Delanco. If we're going to prohibit public parking on one particular street or one section of a particular street, there should be a compelling public purpose for doing so, such as public safety, emergency access, or another legitimate governmental interest. But if the justification is that people could park somewhere else, then we're not solving a problem. We're simply deciding which neighborhood will bear it. and Delanco is home to just under 5,000 residents. While I absolutely respect the concerns of those who live on Delaware Avenue, my responsibility is to every resident in the community. No neighborhood in Delanco should receive more consideration than another simply because the residents are the most vocal or the most organized. Every resident deserves equal consideration from this governing body. I can't look at a public street and conclude that the interests of 30 or 40 nearby residents should automatically outweigh the interests of the other 4,900 people who also have a right to enjoy our waterfront and use our public streets. If we're going to limit that right, then there should be a clear and demonstrable public benefit, and that's the question I believe we should be asking. And if anyone living on Delaware Avenue or in that area believed I was referring to them personally or believed I was labeling an entire neighborhood, I apologize, and that was never my intent. My responsibility on this township committee is to represent each and every resident of this town equally, regardless of what street they live on. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. I'll move on to consent agenda for resolutions 2026-102 and 2026-103. Resolution 2026-102, a resolution authorizing a shared service agreement with Delanco Township School District Board of Education for the provision of a Class 3 Special Law Enforcement Officer. Resolution 2026-103 is a resolution to hire a school resource officer, SLEO 3, Jamie Landing. So I would ask for an approval of resolutions 2026-102 and 103. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second. Oop,
Oh,
Fern's got it.
okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
Mr. McFadden.
Yes.
Mr. Olet.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Yes. And now Bev will do the oath of office for SLEO 3, Jamie Landing.
I, Jamie Landon,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties of the office of
all the duties of the office of
Delanco Township School Resource Officer,
Delanco Township School Resource Officer,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
If you choose to.
So help me God.
Very good. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Welcome. So we're very happy to be working with the school board in that regard. Joanne, thank you. Okay, comments and reports. I guess, Steve, you're going to be filling in for Doug.
Other than the comments that Doug made in executive, I don't have anything further this
Okay.
evening.
Okay. Harry, you're up.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. First of all, this crossing, development, the developers performed concrete tours in the sidewalk and driveway signals. The purpose of that is he's contending that salt damaged the sidewalk and it wasn't bad construction. So he's taking tours, they're doing chemical and compression analysis of the concrete, and they're going to come back and report to us on that. Let's see what the numbers say. It's not, we don't have to necessarily accept what they say, it's just more evidence in their favor. to say what their argument is about the sidewalk. As soon as that report comes in, we'll know a lot more.
Well, if it shows salt, does that mean that the crossings is going to be responsible to replace those sidewalks, or the contractor still would have that responsibility?
That's where the argument is step two. If it was salt causing it, who put the salt there?
Right.
The developer was in charge of the development for quite some time before the homeowner association took over. So there's questions on who may have applied the salt.
Right.
That's
And,
the next step.
okay. Because those sidewalks have been a mess for a long time. I mean, it's not just this past winter.
Yeah, no, it's been spotted.
Yeah.
It's been
Okay.
from inspection.
Okay. Thank you, Harry. Okay.
The 2024 task force program, that's the double rounded project. The contractor for the complete network there, specialist work. Again, we placed a few handicap ramps because they weren't draining properly. He did that, now they're going to come in, well, infrared the asphalt in front of it, to smooth it out, to make sure there's no problem at the ramps. They will be doing that this week and following up with touching up the striping that was damaged by the infrared. As soon as I've done that, the project will be 100% complete, and we can move on from there. And we will be receiving a 2-year maintenance bond for that project. So if anything does go wrong, any construction efficiencies go wrong, within the next 2 years, they still have to come back and fix it.
Good.
The 2025 program, Newton's Landing Boulevard, the double block curb is all installed, and it's been installed. All the handicap ramps have been installed. There's some minor drainage improvements done there, inlet improvements. That's all completed. They are planning on coming out next week to start milling. And the process is they're going to mill all Newton's Landing, then they will run over to the school and mill their parking lot, and then pave thereafter, flood permitting. So they will be done, flood permitting, it takes the time weeks worth of work.
So is some of those millings, can our Public Works use them? Because John was hoping to use them back on the Delaware Avenue area that sits back. Okay, good. All right.
Absolutely, because they should be good millings.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of nice about overlays.
Okay, good.
So yes. The 2025 CDBG grant, that's on your agenda tonight to award that contract to Ronald Construction. As you may recall, this was a rebid. We did it once before, but obviously one bidder, the prices were really high. And we went out to rebid, and these prices are more in line with what we would expect. So we are recommending award to them. Now, they do not have a lot of public experience, public contract experience. They do have private contract experience, which we checked their references, and the references came back very good. So the big difference between government work and private work is essentially paperwork, the red tape. The construction is construction. So we may have to, lead them and help them along a little bit, especially since it's CDBG money, but it's that's nothing that should be of any concern. We couldn't really find any reason to disqualify them. They don't have a lot of experience in public work, but, everybody's got to start somewhere.
Right.
So that's ready to go. Centennial Park, Pine Street, that construction is starting this week. They're putting the safety fence up tomorrow. Then they're going to be moving some equipment in and whatnot on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and starting the demolition work of that.
Good. Looking forward to that.
And I did receive the email to save the big rock.
The big rock, yeah. And I do want to talk to you about the enclosure for the time capsule, because the subcommittee met, and is there anything that they can do to put a temporary top on that so that we can actually dedicate it the day of our presentation rather than sealing it up before we do it, so we don't have to have a video? because that's really what we want to do. We want to actually put the time capsule in the day of our celebration, which will be sometime in October. So if they can do that, I didn't know if I needed to talk to Fred or if you would talk to Fred, but the subcommittee was really, wants to put that time capsule in when everybody's there.
That's not a problem. Fred already mentioned that what we will do is we'll leave the lid off. It's concrete lid.
Right.
And it's got some weight to it, so they'll probably have a little machine or a couple big guys to move it. But that will be off. And he can be there at the ceremony, so you can place your materials in there. Everybody can see them, mortar it up and stick the lid on it.
Yeah.
It'll be sealed at that point.
That's what, yeah, because,
So that's not a problem.
okay, because I thought it was kind of a safety concern. He was at the pre-construction meeting that they would do it at the end of the construction in August, and, okay.
Yeah, at worst case, we set the lid on it, and then during the ceremony, we can come take the lid off and
Okay, good.
ceremony. And
That makes sense.
Got to witness the sealing of it.
Good, yeah, that's what we wanted, right? Thank you, Harry, that's good.
Lastly, the PSAG road program, paving project, which is, yes, they have to repave the roads that they started by putting in their gas mains. People that have been through this before know how we kind of work this. They're responsible to, at a minimum, repave half of the roadway, half the cartway, when they install their mains. If there are several patches, service patches going to households on the other side of where the main is, we require them to pave the whole road. So that's kind of a subjective thing. If it's, several blocks and it's one patch, we're not going to make them pave the whole road, they just take half the road. But what we do is, public service doesn't care, they have a number that they're responsible for to pave. Certain square yards of paving that. They don't care where they pave it. So what we do is we look at some streets that, if we're going to have it in the near future in the road program, or if they're not in that bad shape, we say, okay, don't pave that road, and we want credit for that to pave a full width road someplace else. So we can move the roads well. We do have a very large credit for Delaware Avenue, because they installed the gas main there and we paved it.
Right, we paved, yeah.
We would have had it done if we didn't do it, as well as Walnut and Chestnut Streets. So we have a pretty good backup amount of paving that we can use to, rather than do half with paving, do full paving on some of these roads. I'm in the process now of working out all the numbers.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of different parts to the puzzle, and when I get all those numbers together, and I'm going to be up there tomorrow actually looking at some of the roads, to see how we want to do any swaps if any. And at least we'll use up the Delaware Avenue and Walnut and Chestnut Street amount on other types of roads that
right.
need it.
But we'll still have additional roads, though. We should have several roads that can be redone.
Under this,
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot.
roads, yeah.
Yeah,
More than
I know.
that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. When are they gonna start that? I thought they were gonna do it in the spring, but as spring's passed.
They're waiting for me to finalize.
Oh, okay.
On what roads, and they also, the project manager on vacation this week, so as soon as she gets back next week, we're gonna have a pre-construction meeting and review what roads we.
Are you gonna confer with John?
John and Deborah as well.
Okay, good, good.
Before I even meet with them, I'm gonna talk to them, make sure they're on the same page.
Okay.
On what we're doing.
Good.
They're also, Public Service is also repaving the parking lot at the backfield by Walnut Street School. They used that parking lot for a couple months during the
Yeah,
gas
I
project
saw
to
that.
store stuff. So Public Service agreed to do repaving of that entire lot, including striping for them.
That's good,
They'll be
because
doing
that lot's a
next
mess.
week. Yeah.
That lot's a mess, too.
Yeah, thanks.
That's good.
Yep.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Harry. Our Township Administrator, Deb?
Thank you, Mayor. A few things this evening. I wanted to point out a resolution on here to apply for a grant for the resource officer. There's no guarantee we will get this, but despite the township and the Board of Ed pooling our resources to share yet another employee, I'm going to look to see if we can get some funding for it. I was on a meeting last week with the county, and it included Edgewater Park and Beverly, and it is regarding the trails that they're running through our 3 towns, actually the entire county. So in the near future, I'll be sending stuff out to everyone so you can see what some of their proposals are, how they're going to get the parks to connect through Delanco, and then as it gets a little closer, we'll have more meetings to figure out what looks more attractive to everyone. July 31st, we are going to have in-service training at the township, and the municipal building will be closed for the day. We will post it on Facebook, we'll post it online. We are working with the Delran EMS. They are going to come in and train all of our employees in CPR, so the entire staff, including Public Works, will be trained in CPR, which is just a good thing to have, especially for Public Works when they're out on the roads and doing some heavy lifting. So it's just a good thing for everybody to know. So again, I will put that out, but July 31st, the municipal building will be closed. It is a Friday. And the last thing I have is, it is on here for discussion, the brush pickup. And I've just called around to other towns, looked at other codes to try to come up with a way to eliminate the call-ins, to have to schedule brush pickup, and to create a schedule that the township will know. And the one recommendation I come up with is the same week, every other week, which is the same week as the recycling. So you'll know when recycling is coming through town, the gang will come out and do brush pickup. And what it'll allow is Mondays, so you'll have the weekends to get your brush out to the curb. You won't have to call and schedule it, and know that every other week the guys will be out on a regular basis. So this will be for discussion later, but there are copies in everyone's packets. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Chief?
Good evening, everyone. For our statistics for the month of June, there were 23 police cases with a total of 130 for the year. There were 41 motor vehicle summonses issued for a total of 273 for the year. There are 134 stops with a total of 1,054. And there were 809 calls for service with a total for the year of 5,058.
Wow.
So they're pretty busy. Obviously, we're fortunate to be able to have Jamie sworn in tonight. For those who don't know, Jamie came from Burlington City. His full 25 years there. He retired in May. He was a K-9 officer, and he was their lead detective and ran their DB for several years. So he's very pivotal in his investigation, solving a lot of cases there. So a lot of experience, and we can actually lean on him for some things, but he'll do very well in school. So
Good.
I'm happy about that.
Yeah,
And
I think the students will like having an officer there as well.
Absolutely. And just get everything squared away for August 4th. So
Good,
that's pretty much for now.
good. Yeah,
Looking
August
forward
4th,
to it.
National Night Out,
National Night
remember
Out.
that.
Yeah. So that's
Okay.
all I have for tonight.
I wanted to know if you could put Rancocas Avenue on the speed limit vehicle for whatever the list is, because it's boating season now,
Maybe
and,
when we move this on?
yeah, when.
Yeah, I
when-
can do whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's boating season now, and the people are really zipping through our street, right, Fern?
Okay.
That they are.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll move it tomorrow.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
John?
Yes, good evening. We put a half a ton of asphalt out for potholes. We cut all township properties 4 times. We chipped up 36 cubic yards of brush, plus we picked up stuff, from the storms in the dump truck. We lined three times for the baseball field. We cleared all the storm damage from all the stopped up storm drains from all the rain we had. And we had some flooded streets, really bad. And so we kept up, with the storm drains that helped keep everything clear on that. We watered the trees for the Shade Tree Commission. They were calling up and saying, will you please water some of the trees? And we did. And that's it.
Okay, John, thank you. Viv?
I received a communication from New Jersey League of Municipalities regarding the annual conference. Early bird registration is open now through August 31st, and I did send that out to our department heads and committee. It's a good way for us to save a little bit of money, so if anyone is planning on attending, or if they're planning on bringing a companion or spouse, to please let me know so I can get everyone registered. So I'll be sending out additional emails just to remind you.
Okay.
And that's it.
Aaron? Excuse me.
I have two things today. I sent out letters earlier today to the two residents around Field of Dreams for the National Night Out celebration due to the centennial fireworks display. Just advising them that there will be fireworks at 8:30, so if there's plans or anything, pets or young children, just basically giving them all the information on that. And then also, last call for the Hometown Hero banners. They can be purchased online or in person at the municipal building. All that information can be found on the website.
Do you know how many we have to date? I know at the last meeting it was 27, but...
Yeah, we've had a couple more come in.
Yeah,
in-
'cause I
in
know I
person,
did.
And I think a few more that I've known that people were going to get on the website. I can get an update from Carolyn. She's been
Okay,
handling
good,
that
yeah.
website, but it's going well, 30 plus at this point.
Good, good. And this new system that we're using, this Legacy, it should be easy, I'm thinking, for all the people who bought a brick for the Centennial Park, to send them a notice when we're going to have our celebration so they can feel free to attend.
Yes.
To see their brick and everything else that we're going to do that day. So it should be easy. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're using this system. Okay.
Yep.
Good. Okay. Anyone from Township Committee? I didn't have reports on the agenda because we just met a couple weeks ago. So if anyone has anything special they want to report now, if not, hold it till our August 2nd.
It's the one thing that mentioned about doing the CPR for the staff of the in-service. At our last OEM meeting, we did talk about doing a community CPR, and we're going to be working on scheduling that with Delran EMS. They'll be available for all members of the public who wish to attend the community CPR, and there'll be no cost to the public for that.
Okay, some date in the future.
Yeah, we're probably looking, only because August is really booked, we'll probably look sometime in September for that.
Okay.
It'll probably be right here in this room.
Good, thank you. Anyone else have anything? Okay. We'll move on to consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with a single motion. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Resolution 2026-104, authorizing extension of the third quarter taxes pursuant to NJSA 54:4-66.3, paragraph D. Resolution 2026-105, authorizing the purchase of a police vehicle under the state cooperative purchasing contracts. Resolution 2026-106, resolution approving submission of grant application to U.S. Department of Justice for year 2026 COPS hiring program. Resolution 2026-107, authorizing change order number 1 for the New Jersey DOT FY25 Municipal Aid Roadway Improvement and Township Funded Program, Newton's Landing Boulevard and M. Joan Pearson School paving. Resolution 2026-108, award of bid and contract for 2025 handicap ramp improvement project under the Community Development Block Grant, Ronald Paving LLC. Payment of bills in the amount of $563,873.61 as per the bill list run dated July 13, 2026. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Give the Phil a second.
Phil and Fern. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
Mr. McFadden.
Yes.
Mr. Olet.
Yes, and just a comment pertaining to the purchase of the police vehicle, that our vehicles are out there 24/7. I believe we have 6 vehicles that are in the rotation, and lots of miles get put on those, and to the system that we have of purchasing a vehicle every year and keeping our fleet up to date and functioning. So I think it's an important purchase that we have, and again, keeping our police officers out on the road and not sitting around waiting for a car or having to go rent a car. So that's my only comment on that.
Yeah, it's been a rotation. We've been doing that for a few years
Yes.
now, right, Chief? It's worked out well.
Yes.
And Ms. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
You're good. Okay. Thank you.
Correspondence, Beth?
Okay, we have several pieces. I typically give you a brief synopsis, but as many of these are regarding residents and regarding the parking, the mayor has asked me to read them, so.
Yeah, I wanted them to be on the record.
Just one that does not involve parking was a letter that we received from Burlington County regarding their history display, Burlington County Joins the Revolution. It has been making the rounds throughout the county. It's been at Hainesport. It was at the Warden's House Gallery in Mount Holly. It will be at the Farm Fair next week. And they are looking for municipalities or civic groups that could host it. And the mayor did instruct us that the history board is looking at whether that's something that could come here and we could have it here for a bit. So that's the first piece. The other pieces are all emails that were received. We received an email from Holly Penna. Good afternoon. I came home from travel to find out there was a township meeting I missed regarding parking permits on my street. The notice given to me on a flyer was only delivered 2 days prior to the meeting, and I was already away and unable to get back. I live on Walter Avenue. While at first I was confused when we received parking permits, since I've noticed a great positive change. Our street is less congested with traffic coming and going. We, the residents of the street, actually have spaces for our own cars and our guests. It has reduced the amount of people I see parking and carrying 30 packs of beer into the woods, which I don't believe you can publicly consume alcohol anyway. Overall, the permits have made our home street less troublesome for residents and I believe safer, reducing the times that it is permitted only seems like an unnecessary rollback on the permits. It is of no help to us to roll it back so much. If anything, I would want the time extended, that is, permit only. Please don't offer a safe, convenient solution and then roll it back. Best, Holly. And we received email from Linda Gamage, to whom it may concern. My home is located at the corner of Delaware Avenue and Hazel Avenue, and I support the proposed amendment to allow parking on the riverfront block between 2nd Street and Delaware Avenue from sunrise until 9 p.m. In my experience, this is a reasonable change that will allow residents and visitors to enjoy the riverfront during the early morning hours. I cannot comment on the proposed changes in the vicinity of Hawk Island, as I have no personal knowledge or experience with parking conditions there during the early morning hours after sunrise. As an additional consideration, I would also support extending the evening parking hours until 10 p.m. during the summer months. There are often residents and visitors walking along the riverfront after sunset, particularly during the longer daylight hours, and allowing parking until 10 p.m. would better accommodate that seasonal use while still maintaining overnight parking restrictions. Thank you, Linda Gamage. Another that I received today was from Mary Wood. Good afternoon, Ms. Russell. The following is submitted for consideration from the Township Committee. Regarding parking at Hawk Island, my understanding is that visitors currently have no designated parking options at the park. A practical solution would be to move the fence line back to create a parking area for visitors. For example, the space where committee members parked during the Hawk Island cleanup with Senator Singleton could serve this purpose. Adjusting the fence perimeter would open that area for visitor parking, reducing the burden to nearby residents who otherwise face unfamiliar vehicles and the issues that often accompany them. After speaking with many neighbors, it is clear there is a broad agreement that the parking restrictions along Delaware Avenue and adjacent streets have been effective in reducing crime, noise, and other disruptive activity. These restrictions were originally implemented in response to past issues and they have proven beneficial. Our recommendation is to maintain the current restrictions without amendment. Instead, we propose updating the ordinance to allow Delanco residents to apply for permits in this area. This approach would preserve the safety benefits while ensuring that all residents can access and enjoy the park and Delaware Avenue. Thank you, Mary. Let's see. From the previous meeting, these were entered into correspondence at that time. We received an email from Nancy Sacca. Hello, we reside at 105 Vine Street. We just received the notice regarding a change in permit hours for restricted parking on our street. We strongly oppose any change to the restricted parking at Hawk Island due to concerns over public safety and health issues. Before the restrictions were placed, we had numerous people with out-of-state license plates who disregarded public health issues such as trash left behind, cans, bottles, etc. in the streets and sidewalks. We also got to witness people changing clothes in the street, urinating outside their vehicles, and trespassing on private property. Radios blasting, gatherings, blocking driveways and fire hydrants. We also saw on one afternoon a small child being beaten by his father right outside our house that had just come out of Hawk Island. That was terrible to witness. These issues have subsided somewhat since the restrictions went into effect. There has been an improvement. We strongly request that the parking restrictions remain as is or be expanded. Sincerely, Nancy Sacca and Vincent Girolami. We received, and I believe this was a partial email. There was an email sent to the mayor, and then it was forwarded to me, but I don't believe the lady put the full amount. So what she sent to the mayor was, "Hi, Kate. Hope you can bring this up with the township. We got notice there would be no parking on 2nd Street. However, myself, my husband, and mansion residents have had trouble and arguments in order to get in and out of our driveway on 2nd Street. We are not parking on 2nd Street, just needed to go places and return home. If the township plans to do this again, it should be noted that residents are allowed in and out." It was very frustrating. And then she forwarded to me that it is odd that the resident wants to watch the sunrise over the river. The sun sets over the river, does not rise. And that was Martha Kulameka.
Yeah.
I believe that was all regarding the parking.
Yes, I
That
think
is
it was.
my full correspondence.
Thank you. That covers everything?
Yes.
Good, thank you.
And you all have received copies either in your agenda packet or Ms. Wood's comments that were emailed today were on the dais.
Right. Okay, so the meeting is open to the public for comments and questions. This is general session 2. If anybody has something they want to add before we get into our discussion items. Mickey, sure.
My name is Mickey Walsh. I reside at 701 Delaware Avenue, and I love living here and have been here since the 60s. My family has. We have watched Delaware Avenue change. It used to be sort of lover's lane, people speeding down the road. There were people killed going down the road, not making the slight bend down the street, but it's always been a lovely place to live. I'm also in favor of this ordinance of keeping the parking the way it is. I have seen a lot of, I haven't personally, but my wife has seen drug dealers going out in front of our streets, right there. I believe that we should have the parking stopping at sunset. This is not Lover's Lane. And we do have people parking there a lot of times. I have walked out my house, I sort of walk down the street, look, and say, and then they'll tend to drive away. So that's good enough for me, and I don't like to call the police at all. So thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Mickey. Anyone else? Okay, I'll close this portion of the meeting to the public. And we'll start with the discussion items. And this is further continuance of ordinance 2026-11. It was introduced, actually, it really wasn't introduced, but it's amending 295-54 governing schedule 13 permit, or 23, excuse me, permit parking only to amend the times for restricted parking in the vicinity of Hawk Island and Delaware Avenue. I will open this up to the committee members for their comments, but I would like to say that the Delaware Avenue issue, I was on Township Committee when we dealt with that, and they were, the residents had some good concerns, and I think we resolved it, and I don't understand why we would want to change something that's been working very well for the last few years. And as Joan had pointed out, you know, I don't live on the Delaware River. I live on the Rancocas Creek, and the sun rises there every morning. So I get to see the sunrise. The sun sets in September and October at the River Junction, so I get to see that in the later months. But that's my comment on Delaware Avenue. On Hawk Island, we worked with those residents as well, and I think the only thing that could change would permits being allowed for all the residents on Walter and Vine, and if anyone Orchard need permits, those residents should be able to get parking permits, but I don't think times should change. It's worked. The residents seem happy, and I don't see opening up those hours, especially sunrise. That's my opinion, and I would let the other members of the Township Committee offer theirs, but I'm in favor of keeping these on the record. Vern?
As far as the hours that are concerned, I think 9 o'clock is reasonable at night to have the permit start. And, you know, we talk about sunrise, and currently I think it's 8 o'clock. I'd say we could probably go till, you know, have the permit from 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. You know, again, 7 a.m. being our noise ordinance, and, you know, people are starting to move around, and to make that 1 hour change would I would be okay with. The thing that was mentioned this evening about handicap parking being on at the end of the street, or I think it was a really good suggestion that we should probably take a look at, so that folks that have walkers or scooters or have difficulty walking would be able to have a place to park at the end of the street close to the river. That would be, and then as far as Hawk Island, again, last year, or prior to the summer of last year, I guess, we had put the permit parking out there to help alleviate a lot of the issues that were going on, and that has seemed to work for the residents over there. And this year doesn't seem to be as, I guess, word got out that if you're going to Hawk Island on the weekend, you better have a permit to park there. Or, and then for the folks that I guess may have been discouraged because they had to park further away, I think the problem has pretty much gone away. And having the park open to the public for folks to go back there and walk, and I think it encourages probably more of our residents in the neighborhoods to use Hawk Island. When we did do the cleanup out there, I guess about a month ago with the senator, I was surprised how clean things were on the trails. And once we got down to the river and the water bank, that was a different story. But again, we didn't pull out as much trash as we had in cleanups before. So right now, my position is that we don't change the ordinance. Things are working, and why upset the apple cart at this point?
Thank you, Vern. Matt?
Okay. I gave a lot of my comments earlier when I read that. In reviewing the comments that Mary Wood submitted regarding the Delaware Avenue parking area, I completely concur with updating the ordinance to allow any resident in Delanco Township to get a permit, and not just the residents that live on Delaware Avenue or those side streets. I think any resident of the town, if they want to be able to park over there, they should be able to, regardless of changing the time, sunrise, sunset, 9 p.m., whatever. If a resident wants to park there, they should have the same right that any other resident in the town does. Regarding the parking by Hawk Island, again, I concur with Mary about moving the fence or allowing parking in there. In fact, I came up with that 2 years ago, but the township committee didn't want to do that. I think that's on the record. I think that's a great idea, but I don't know if it could be done at this point, since we put the town, put that Hawk Island property on the Rossi list, the Recreation Open Space Inventory with the New Jersey DEP, so it can never be developed. If council is able to look into that to see if we can do that, I would be completely in favor of that, as I was 2 years ago. You know, in short, I agree, Kate, with your vote when we voted on this, or when the township committee voted on this ordinance regarding the parking on Delaware Avenue back in 2014 when you voted against it. I think that there shouldn't be permit parking over there, but if there is, it should be for any resident of the town.
Good point. Phil? Anything else, Matt?
No, I'm good.
Oh.
Thank you, Kate.
Phil?
Like Dave said, if it's not broken, don't fix it. We had issues along the river for numerous years before this ordinance was put on the books. I also do believe with what Scott is telling us that it shouldn't be, there's no possible way for us that I'm aware of, because the property at the Hawk Island property is on the Rossi list, that we can actually put a parking lot on there. I just don't feel comfortable changing it. I would rather leave it as is.
Both?
What's that?
Both?
Yes.
Okay.
Kate, if I could just add one more thing, please.
Sure.
You know, as elected officials, our responsibility is not to just preserve every ordinance simply because it's been on the books for a dozen years. Our responsibility is to proactively ask whether an ordinance continues to serve a legitimate public purpose and benefit for the township as a whole, whichever way it goes. And, you know, that's any ordinance, not just the parking. We shouldn't have something just on the books just because.
I understand. So we're not going to take official action on this ordinance because Carolyn Seuss is not here tonight, and I really think that she should be a part of the vote on this because she was the one that actually brought it up. So we will vote on this at our next meeting. The next item of discussion is a proposed ordinance amending Chapter 135 to regulate the amount and diameter of brush, limbs, and stumps that can be deposited curbside by residents for the township service. And our administrator had touched base on this. Deb, if you want to just refresh everybody about what this is about, and then we can ask John if he has any comments.
Absolutely. The way it's currently written, residents have to call to be placed on a list for the most part and have brush picked up. You know, for one thing, it just seems like it would be convenient if they didn't have to worry about calling if they were able to get through. They can just set up a schedule. Everybody will know exactly what date they're coming around. Monday would be the easiest date, like I had mentioned, because everybody seems to, or the most people, aside from when there's a large storm, would be clearing out their yards on the weekends. So this way they would know when the recycling is due to be picked up that same week, Monday, the gang can go around and pick up the brush. It would help with, especially in light of what happened with the storm, where a lot of our storm drains were clogged. I know it wasn't just from the brush, but if it's just a more regular basis that we're clearing the streets, it would hopefully alleviate some of those issues. it would just, the guys are out and about. I know our Department of Public Works is busy, but it isn't an extremely large town. I did call other locations, looked up other codes. Some of the other towns, similar to our size, pick up twice a week, which does seem a little excessive, unless, John would think if something came up, a large storm, and want to put a blast out that they're going to go out again. But this would just, I think a schedule would be just easier for residents to follow.
Yeah. John, do you want to add any comments to that? I had originally, when I originally talked to you about it, I gave you the wrong day. It would be on Monday pickup, not on Thursday, not on the recycling day, just on the recycling week, every other week.
Well, my main concern is the chipper is the most dangerous piece of equipment that we own. And nobody wants to go on the chipper because the chances of something happening are better than normal. When you're picking up brush, you don't have no idea what's in the brush. You have to go through it. We throw pipes through it. We threw fences through it. Pitchfork went through it. I mean, it's a dangerous piece of equipment. And to put them out an extra day, I mean, if you think that will help, but I don't think it's going to help because people put brush out all the time. I live in this town. I go through this town every single day just about. And one of the biggest compliments I got from another public works department was, how come we don't see all this brush laying around your town? I said, well, because we have a designated week and that's when you put it out. And if you put it out sooner, then you get a notice. We're trying to keep the town clean. With the double trash pickup now you got trash and you got recycling, and now you're going to have brush. It's all, I don't know what to say on that, but it's just hard. And then you get the people that you go by, and next thing you know, they're putting brush out behind you. Well, usually when we have the 1 week, if I ride around and I notice there's a lot of piles of brush, I'll go out the week before on a Thursday and a Friday, and we get started on the brush, because you can tell that it's going to be a heavy week, and that helps us. And it usually takes us like 5 to 7 days to actually do the brush. So, I mean, and we do it in 3, and then I have 3 guys on there. So when I put 3 guys on there, especially in the summertime, people go on vacation, and I like to, since brush is the hardest thing to actually do, I try to rotate. I don't just keep 3 guys on there and let them take a beating, because it's not an easy task. People put it out. The reason why we like the residents to call, so we can say, hey, if you're putting it out, face it in the right direction. Don't throw it out all tangled up in big, put big logs on top of stuff, that's where our people get hurt. And that happens all the time. You go in, you bend down, and you try to pull, and it's all stuck together, and it just makes it very difficult. But, I'd say, if I'm willing to try it, if you think that that will help, we'll give it a try and see.
What it may do is it may limit the amount of brush at one time. You don't think so?
No, it won't. It'll be a free-for-all.
Any comments from Township Committee, since this is a discussion item?
Yeah, I think, on John's point that the chipper is the most dangerous equipment that we have, it most definitely is. But if I don't see having the guys go out twice a month instead of once a month is going to increase the amount, because it's the same amount of brush that's getting put up. It's just split out between the 2 different pickups. But I completely respect that. That's a dangerous piece of equipment. It most certainly is. I also think going around twice a month instead of the people putting out the brush when, if let's just say a tree comes or branches come down their lawn, they put it out on August 1st, and we're not doing pickup to the 4th or 3rd week of the month. It's going to be out there 3-4 weeks before it gets picked up. And I get our ordinance says that you're not supposed to put it out until the Friday beforehand or whatnot. But you see all over the town, people put their brush out when it comes down, because the majority of the town doesn't know about that it's a 1 week
Well, like
per
I
month
said,
ordinance.
when there is storm damage, I always go out. We run the town, right after any storm, we run the whole town, and we go 2 times, okay? And then I got pickup trucks, instead of stopping the truck and picking a little handful of brush up, we throw it, then we dump it out back, and put it in the dumpster. So, you know, it's a hard task. It's a hard task, it really is.
Yeah,
And
I really wasn't.
I'm just worried about people getting hurt, and that's my responsibility. We had somebody, we had half a tree down on Orchard, and one of my guys, the branch broke off, hit him in the forehead, and he, you know, right here on his forehead, it was bleeding. I mean, you know, real thin skin here, and he was bleeding pretty good, but he was okay, so that was good. He had the safety stuff on, but let me tell you, that branch hits you, and especially in the wintertime. If it hits you, it's gonna sting for a while.
And and your guys do go around right after the storms, like we had that one a week and a half ago on Orchard, like you're saying, Orchard over at Washington, when everything came down, their power was out, I was out there for a couple
bad.
hours with the fire department.
That was really
There was a
bad.
lot that came down, you
That
guys
was
picked it
bad.
up the next day, but I'm talking about just in general, if someone has a branch come down, they'll put it down at the beginning of the month, and it'll be there, 3-4 weeks, the way we have the once a month brush pickup. So, that's my thoughts on it. Like I said with the parking and any other ordinance, ordinances are living and breathing documents. We should look at them and see what's best for the town at any given time. That's just my thought.
Kurt?
Would we be able to do this through a resolution and do a trial period of 3 months of doing the schedule that's being proposed, suggested, and issues that made?
Unfortunately, I don't think we can do it via a resolution, because right now you have
an ordinance.
the ordinance as to, when the pickup times are, and unfortunately, you can only amend an ordinance via an ordinance.
Via an ordinance.
And as Debbie had stated, that they would like to get it out to the public in the tax bills, because they'll be mailing them soon, so everyone would get the notice.
All right, so if we amend the ordinance and then other issues come up down the road, then we just revisit it and redo the ordinance again?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
We can always do that.
Just, I've been here for a long time.
I know, John.
When I go through this town, I go down Delaware Avenue, and I see how nice it is down there. And I take pride in my work. I don't like to see grass growing in the street. I don't like to see brush, big piles of brush all over. Trash. For some reason, I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but there's a lot. People are putting trash out on Mondays now.
Yeah.
It's all over, and it makes the town look like an eyesore, at least in my opinion, And, but I mean, it's a never-ending process to do it, that's for sure.
Bill?
I know you guys got a tough job. I totally understand it. But I'm swaying more to it would be in the best interest to, put a change in the ordinance to have you guys out there. I know you say it'll be more, there won't be, to me, I would never call you and say, hey, John, I put my brush out, and then go put my brush out. I would already have it at the curb. So the conversation on the phone about how to stack it and all that, it would have already been out there. I would have just been calling to let you know it's out there and get on the list. And I know there's sometimes I don't get on the list, but you guys do come through. I mean, I know you guys got a rough job, but I would like to see it to where it's picked up every recycling schedule, which is what, every 2 weeks?
Yeah. So we can try it, we can amend the ordinance and see how it works out. And if it becomes a burden or what have you, we can always change the ordinance. I think it's, and
But we're gonna still keep all the regular rules about the 20-minute pickup, the way it's put out.
yeah, they have to be, and that has to be emphasized,
We had that
Debbie.
big pile of that.
I saw that, I went and saw that pile on West Avenue today.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. That probably will take a couple days to do that job.
Yeah.
Wouldn't take a couple days? It looks like it to me. I mean, it's gotta be
It's the
150
tugging-
feet.
it's the tugging and the pulling, you know, I guess people feel that there's not much room between the curb and the sidewalk, so I'm gonna make it, you know. But when they just throw it out,
Yeah,
and instead of you grabbing the butt and then pulling it through, you gotta actually tangle. And then what people do, they put the logs on top, and that just makes a whole different ballgame then.
yeah,
Like down in Illinois, remember when my guys got poison ivy from that back?
yeah.
That's what they did. They put all the logs on top of the brush. And the only way to move it, and the way it was put out, we couldn't even pick it with the loader.
Yeah.
But
Well, let's give it a shot, John.
Okay.
What do you think? And see if it works, and if it's
Very
causing
good.
a lot of problems, if you need another employee, if there's too much work going on, because this town knows the pride you have in this town. You've been here over 50 years, and we appreciate what you do. We appreciate the pride that you show for the work you do, and your crew does a terrific job. And I think they all enjoy working for the town. So we'll give it a shot. We'll try it. If it doesn't work out, you have to let us know. If it becomes too burdensome, and
well, what are we gonna do about the winter time when we do leaf season?
I think when there's leaf, there's not as much brush, is there?
That's because the brush has stopped.
That's because you usually stop. I think we're going to have to work on it.
Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow, John, about the specifics.
Yeah, and so should we do this as first reading tonight? Is that what you're
Yes.
proposing?
Yes.
That we do this, Bev, for first reading tonight?
Okay, and that would be ordinance 2026-12, amending Chapter 135 to regulate the amount and diameter of brush, limbs, and stumps that can be deposited curbside by residents for township service. And this would be read by title only, and set public hearing for August 3rd,
Okay,
if you wish to do so.
very good. So we need a motion to approve ordinance.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes.
Mr. McFadden?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Fitzpatrick?
Yes. Okay. Anybody have anything else? No? All right. So I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you.